Hey everyone, this is
Okay.
Franco again with MyNurish, and I just have a really great guest here today that has been kind enough to take a little bit of his time to share his story about how he has found nutrition in his life, in particular how he has used our products to sort of enhance the quality of his life. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you to Jim. Jim, thank you so much for your time. Jim, are you?
Yeah, thank you.
We've been having some audio issues, so this is the beauty and the magic of being live. So, Jim, you've been doing our products for some time. Can you kind of give us kind of just a brief overview? Tell me how it all got started, how and what it's been doing for you?
Yeah, I think we first chatted about the superfoods a few 6 years ago, maybe. I'm just randomly guessing on that one, somewhere in that area. But I think I was recovering or trying to get through having a cold, basically. And you said I didn't sound well, and I said I was not feeling 100%. And then you recommended that I tried the 37 superfoods as well as I think elderberry at the time.
Yeah.
Went to Walgreens, got the elderberry, got the superfoods from you. Since that point, I don't think I've ever gone more than a day without the superfoods and take it on vacations with me. My daily routine begins with superfoods first thing in the morning. So that's basically it. And once you feel good and you're on the product, I would feel really bad if I wasn't taking the product and just continue to do it because I think it just gives me a lot of energy.
So when we did meet that one time, you were sort of you're high school and you were also doing some college coaching at with softball and
Mm-hmm.
you also had at that time an indoor facility, and I remember that experience because you were right next to me, and you didn't sound, you were in a cage doing a session with somebody, and you didn't sound very good. And it was
Yeah.
obvious that you were struggling with a cold, and one that just kept lingering, which is something that everybody deals with. And they could just, they'll go
Yep.
through this major bout of cold, and then they can't get rid of the rest of it. So when you took it, did your body feel it right away? Did it take a little time, but ultimately, obviously, it did some wonders for you? Do you still also feel like it helps you to stay healthy during the winter and with colds and whatnot?
Yeah, for sure. I honestly can't remember the last time I had a cold. And I think we briefly talked about this a little bit before, but even being diagnosed with COVID a couple times
Right.
since the pandemic started, I never had a symptom other than a slight headache. And wouldn't even know I had it if it wasn't for my wife being more sick than me, who does not take the product. But
We'll have to
yeah,
work
I
on
just
that.
think, yeah, I mean, it's difficult. You know, but once you see the results, you just continue to do it. And for me personally, um, talking back when we were talking, I don't know, 6 years ago, I feel younger than I did 6 years ago. I feel I look younger than I did 6 years ago. Um, I don't know. I feel like at least if I haven't reversed the aging process, at least I've slowed it down and at least kept it at bay.
That's a pretty valid thing that people say all the time, is that it's not just sort of this feeling of energy that they get, but it's just the overall general sense of wellness and vitality that you get
Mhm.
from just nourishing your body, nourishing all your cells with all of this amazing nutrition. I mean, those cells need as much nourishment as anything else, and sometimes we kind of take it for granted that the only thing that needs it is, like, say, your muscles, and so you do an insane amount of protein, but you don't replenish all the other cells in your body, and obviously this is what it does. Now, you told me when I asked you if you would come on and just share your story a little bit, you mentioned that, what was it, just the other day or a week ago or so, that you had a really interesting sort of situation
Yeah,
that I wanted you to
I
kind of
can go
share
into
that.
yeah. So, I took it in the morning, and then this is, like you said, about a week ago, probably started feeling really, really, really run down, out of the normal, achy, by the end of the night, and took another one at night. I like literally sweated through my sheets and woke up about 3:30 a.m. And at that point, whatever I had was completely gone, and I felt 100% normal from 3:30 in the morning on till the next day, and ever since. So I feel like just when you start feeling something coming on, it's a good idea to double up the dosage that day. So one in the morning and one at night. And I strongly believe, that the product itself goes in and naturally is helping your body and curing you, versus, we had this conversation too, but like going to Walgreens and buying NyQuil, that's
Right.
just masking the problem. Yeah, chemicals.
Exactly. I mean, that's just it. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but you are just simply kind of putting a Band-Aid on what you're dealing with when you're basically just doing NyQuil and things like that. You're not really getting at the root of why you're feeling ill, or how to get better faster, because your body is just amazing. It can react to whatever's going inside, what's sort of taking you down, and respond to it right away, but you need to give it some help. And so that's something that I see
Yes.
all the time, and it's what I'm hearing you say too.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, just like that week ago thing, it was kind of like amazing, or like a mini miracle, but to like be where I was and know that things weren't right when you just feel you're not right, and then 6 hours later, back to 100%. It was like,
Would you
it's
say
pretty
that
hard to explain.
would you say that that's something that you have normally not experienced when you get ill? So that's what makes it kind of unique, like you said, kind of like a little mini miracle, which I'd love to be able to quote you on that, because I mean, now we'll be able to say we perform miracles, but it is amazing that your body can do that. But was that always the case back then when you were dealing with bouts of colds or maybe mini flus or whatever?
No, I mean, I'm probably just like everybody else, where it lingered up to a week, maybe, not much longer than that. And like you said earlier, I mean, I know there's people that get colds and continue to cough for 2 months, 3 months
Yeah.
afterwards or they never get rid of it. So I've been really fortunate health wise not to have anything like that, or not to be sick very often. So, I went to the dentist last week too, Tuesday, I think it was. So my 6 months checkup, and they take your blood pressure. I've been on blood pressure medication for since I was in my 20s. It's kind of runs in my family, and I'm still on it. And I take it with my green energy or my superfoods in the morning. But my blood pressure was 83/56, and she's like, "That's the best it's ever been. That's the lowest it's ever been. We usually have to take it twice." I had 2 cups of coffee prior to going in there, so that was amazing too, because that's the first time that's ever happened. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because, we'll say these things, we'll send out emails to people, and we'll tell people about how superfoods can do this and that. And blood pressure is one of them, cholesterol is another. And sometimes we just don't really seem to buy what we hear. And that's unfortunate, because we've been shouting it from the top of from the rooftops for years, and just getting to hear your own story, and even how people are in disbelief in terms of what's happened to you. And yet, do they even ask you what you're doing, or do they even care? They're just happy that your blood pressure is normal.
yeah, I think they're just happy that it's normal. But I like you. I mean, I have a couple people, I buy the product from you. I have a couple people that I disperse the product out to. I preach the product to everybody I see and meet, and you know, it's really difficult if people don't give it a try.
Right, right,
And
right.
I mean, been times given some to people and they have not taken it, and it's been 6 months, and I'm like, I don't know if I can take the taste. And the taste to me, honestly, I like the taste, and if I don't get it, I kind of crave it. It
Right.
tastes healthy to me. It doesn't taste bad. It tastes good. Um, and it just tastes like you're drinking healthy stuff. But again, it's like you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. And you know more than I do as the co-founder of Super Greens. You know, you can only preach it so much, but people just got to give it a try. You know, buy a 1 month uh, deal and give it 30 days to see how you feel. And if you feel better, then stay on the product. And if you don't, then don't do it.
Yeah, you know, I
So
again, one of the questions I was going to ask you was, you know, if there was something that you would want to share, like impart on people in terms of this experience that you've had with nutrition in general, but with our stuff specifically. And you kind of answered already, which is to say
mm-hmm.
that a lot of times we run into this whole idea that if it's not in the shape of a gummy or some other thing that kind of masks the nutrition, which usually it's incredibly dummied down, no pun intended, but it's incredibly dummied down when you take it like that, and they won't do the things that it needs to do. We won't do it. And that's so unfortunate because I have run into a lot of people who desperately need it. I think we all need it for one thing or another, but who desperately need it and will stop doing it either because A, it didn't perform miracles right away. I mean, in your case, it did within 24 hours, but and that happens with some people, but most of the time it takes a little bit of time because your body's got to clear out all this garbage that it has in it, and then you could start to feel it. So people just kind of give up on it, or they take it for a day or two, and they, like you said, they kind of can't stand the taste because they're not giving the taste enough of a chance. And for people who haven't really, you know, who aren't really too familiar with this, you know, we spend a lot of time creating a formula that would actually really help people to kind of get over that sort of taste profile and the smell and even the texture. I think we did what we could to make it, in your to your point, healthy, but without making it. A lot of people, when people
Yep.
hear healthy, they think raw and sewage, and who knows what they think of. And it's unfortunate they don't give it the chance to really, you know, to try it and see what it does for your body. And 30 days is at least the amount of time that you need. But once you do it, you take off. And so I'm glad you brought that up. Um, as you give this out to people, what have you seen in terms of other people's reaction to it?
I I mean, other people are just like, hey, I'm out. I need another batch of 37 superfoods, and I feel like they kind of similar to me, the ones that are regular. And then, I mean, the sad thing is, and I have a lady who's about 10 years older than me that works in the building that I'm in, and I sold her one 6 months ago.
She hasn't done
She
it.
still hasn't opened it up.
That's too
She
bad.
has been out now for a week with either bronchitis or pneumonia or something. You could hear it in her. She came in Friday, and I kept my distance. But I know even at this point where she's not in today and she's at home sick, she still hasn't opened the jar up. I mean, you got to do something to help yourself, and to drink 12 ounces, 14 ounces. I just mix it in, not even cold water, lukewarm water, stir it up and slam it down. And this may not be the greatest analogy, but at some point in our life, in college or before that, we all drank an alcoholic drink and slammed it down. It's like crap for the benefits of what we were trying to achieve.
No, I don't know what that
To
experience
drink
is like.
something that's going to help you.
Right.
Okay, well, I do,
No, I'm
but
just kidding. I think most of us can relate to that. I think
I,
that's actually a really good analogy, right? I mean, for those who have, we go through the experience of drinking something that tastes horrible just to hopefully get that feeling of whatever you want to call it, you know, buzz or whatever. So, and this is doing the exact same thing, but it's doing a natural thing for your body and giving it, I guess, if you want to call it that, a natural high, because that's what it does. That's exactly what it does. And it's kind of unfortunate because she's sitting there literally feet, what, 5, 10, 15 feet away in her house with whatever she has. And I see this all the time. And I'm going, you literally have, and I know that I'm one of the co-founders, but I know what's in our product, and I know it truly is the most powerful nutritional blend on the market. And I sit there and I go, you are sitting within a few feet from something that is probably considered to be the most powerful nutrition you can put in your body to help you, and you're not doing it. It's frustrating, but
Sure.
it's a labor of love, and it's something that you have to be passionate about, because people just sometimes just need to keep hearing it, and that's why we started this segment with hearing it from other people who are doing it. So anyway,
Right.
really, really, really appreciate just the fact that you shared a little bit of time sharing your story and why it's meant so much for you. Having known you for a little while now, you're right. I do see that you're more vibrant, you have more energy. Jokingly, I think you're a little bit better looking now. Your IQ is a little higher. So all of these are benefits that you didn't even know you could get from the nutrition. So
No, um, no, man, honestly, like I don't get paid anything from the company. I pay for the product, right? I'm just speaking to help other people because it's benefited me that much, and so I just want to make that clear that not taking any checks.
yeah.
I'd be open to it.
Yeah, right. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
We do want to make that clear. Nobody that we have on these interviews are doing it for any other reason than because they just want to share the good news and what's done for them and wanting to help people get better, physically and even mentally. So thanks again, Jim. I know we're sort of in the middle of the day, and I know you're doing this during your work time, so I really do appreciate you taking a little bit of time to share the good news with us. Is there anything you want to impart? Any wisdom you want to impart, or should we just leave it at
thanks for. I appreciate the direction that you gave me a long time ago. I think it's really been beneficial, and look forward to talking to you again as a friends. So,
that? All right.
thank you.
Perfect. Well, likewise. So thanks, Jim. I guess we'll leave it at that. Folks, if you
Sounds
have a story that you want to share about your nutritional journey or quest and how our products have helped you, please let us know. Just